Hello, 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 and welcome to Ask the Attorney Anything. This is my live stream, and this is where I answer questions to you. Anything that's burning in your brain, anything that you wanted to ask me specifically, I am happy to help you. This is one of my favorite things to do, is actually be here with you live and in touch with you and answering your questions and helping you to the best of my ability without giving actual legal advice, just my thoughts as an attorney. We have people tuning in from all over the world. So I would love to see where you're tuning in from. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Rebecca Zung, and welcome to my channel. Welcome to my show. Welcome to my world and my community. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, now is a great time to do that. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so that when I do go live like this, you will know. So I'm a couple minutes late because I was actually being interviewed for someone else's show, and really, really interesting stuff that I will be sharing with you very shortly. So I am now going to answer some of your questions. And somebody was asking me about a modification case. I saw that somewhere. Custody battle in Georgia. Need to know what to file to get it back into court. Simple modification. Okay, and that question is from Christine in Georgia. So modification of custody is something that's going to be governed by a statute in your state. Your state will have some kind of requirements that you need to prove in order to be able to modify their current custody plan, especially if it has been approved and incorporated into a final judgment. That means that that's the last known parenting plan to the court. And as far as a judge is concerned, that's what has to be enforced. So if you want something different than what is in your current parenting plan, then you're going to have to prove whatever the modification standards are for your particular state. It's probably something around a substantial change in circumstances since that final judgment was entered. So be really, really careful when you think about modification, not to be thinking about it in terms of things that happened prior to that last parenting plan being entered, because judges, courts won't be interested in anything that happened before you signed the last one or before the last one was entered. So think of it in terms of what changes have you seen since that last parenting plan was actually approved and made a part of either a court order or a final judgment. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, so I see, hi Doris from Arkansas, and let's see, are there statutes to support grandmother visitation in Ohio after having custody for 1 year of a grandson? That is a question from Luann. Again, that's going to be a question that it's governed by some kind of a law in your state. I know a lot of states don't have a whole lot of grandparent visitation or grandparent rights, but some states do. Some states have more than others. So, and especially in a situation like what you're talking about, as far as you've had custody of this child for a year, you may have to go through some sort of like termination of parental rights, where you actually terminate the rights of the actual parents and then you adopt the child yourself or have some sort of adoption proceedings. Or it might be that the parents need to have some sort of plan put into place for, regaining their own parenting time or parenting rights. Some states, say that you have to establish a plan for reunification with the actual parents. So it really depends on your state, but those are some ideas that I have that you may want to look into. So Let's see. Uh, this is a question from Alvarado, maybe. My ex-narc hasn't let me see the kids in 6 months and has cut me off completely. What can I do? Ugh, that is so heartbreaking when that happens. And, narcissists do tend to be, people who withhold time sharing from the other parent in order to try to punish the other parent, or and it really just ends up punishing the children. It is a form of child abuse that has long lasting psychological effects on the children. So, but as far as forcing somebody to give time sharing or anything like that, please remember that the only person that has any power to order anyone to do anything is a judge. No one else. You can't just, lawyers can't just show up at her house and take the kids. Cops can't just show up at the house unless there is a court order in place, which again, you have to go back to the judge. So if there is a problem with that, you have to go through the court system in order to try to get the kids back and get some kind of a visitation or custody plan or parenting plan in place so that you have court ordered time sharing. Once you have that court ordered time sharing, if the other parent takes the children, especially if they don't return them or they take them out of state or they do something like that, now you have something in your hand. Now you've got that court order in your hand, which will allow you to maybe go get a pickup order or something like that from the court system. And a pickup order, and I don't know exactly what the terminology would be in your particular state, but it's an order that you can now take to the cops, take to the police to say, hey, come pick up the children or go get them and return them to me. Look, I have an order from the court that says that you have to do that. But in order to get to that place, you need to file a motion within the court system and get a parenting plan established, either through a hearing or through mediation or something like that. But if you're going to mediation with a narcissist, please remember that you need to have your strategy and your leverage ready to go. It's all part of my SLAY system, and without that, you will not get them to agree to anything that you want them to agree to. With it, you will. Absolutely. But without it, you definitely won't. So if you want to know more about that, definitely join me on my free webinar. We'll make sure that there's a link to sign up for the free webinar below. And you can learn more about how to create strategy and leverage there. So let's see where I'm going to see if I have any other questions from anybody else. Okay. Somebody's asking me about being blocked from filing on the docket. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I've never heard about that before. My ex, who was diagnosed with schizoaffective bipolar disorder, sounds like a real charmer, 4 years ago was ordered to a psych exam. Okay, good. He's very convincing, says he doesn't have it. It was a misdiagnosis. Our mediator believed him. So, when you go to mediation, just the same as when you're going to a judge, mediator is a really good bellwether for what a judge is going to think or say because it's a neutral third party. You have to have convincing evidence ready to go, because if you're just going to rely on what you're going to say versus what he's going to say or she's going to say, whoever the other person is, you will not get very far. You have to have everything prepared. That's a very, very persuasive case within the context of the law. And that's how I teach you how to create leverage and all of that, so that it's just so obvious to the other side what's exactly going on. And even more importantly, it's so obvious to the narcissist that he or she is going to be exposed for who they are. And they definitely don't want that to happen. You know, I'm thinking about doing a video on the hierarchy of narcissistic supply, because there's certain supply that's more important to narcissists than others. And so, yeah, all supply is really great for them to have. And they definitely get supply from jerking you around through the court system and making you feel intimidated and scared and making your life miserable. Great source of supply. They love that. But they really, really don't want you to threaten another source of supply that is actually even more important to them, which is how they look to judges, how they look to the community, how they look to people that they respect. So that's, you know, when you're thinking about creating strategy and leverage, understanding the type of narcissist that you're dealing with is really super important. And then creating that leverage and strategy around them. So let's see. Any tips for an accurate psych exam? So what I would suggest is that you have a full-on custody evaluation where psych exams are part of that, but they can also do all different sorts of diagnostic tools and administer those. And there's certain diagnostic tools that they can use that actually even measure a person's propensity for truthfulness. And so if you if they're given that and they can see that they actually have a propensity for lying, then you know that will help you as well. So that's all part of under the umbrella of a custody evaluation, which I think is always better than just a single one-off psych exam, because it puts it in terms of the best interests of the children, which is where it actually will mean something to a judge or a mediator. Okay. Let me see. So Living Confidently says, thank you. Full on custody eval, great. So glad that I could answer that question for you, Living Confidently. And I love that you are living confidently. So let me see if I can answer maybe one more question while I am here. Okay. Other parent is refusing to co-parent. What can I do to remedy this? I do suggest a parallel parenting plan. Just take the power away from them. They're refusing to co-parent because they get narcissistic supply from making you miserable. So if you take that power away from them by having a parallel parenting plan where you really don't interact at all, that will definitely help you. So, okay, so that's it for today. If you want to, I didn't get to your question. You want me to answer your questions? I'm going to jump on my Facebook Live right now. So come follow me on to my Facebook page, which is Rebecca Zung, Top 1% Attorney, Narcissist, Negotiation Expert. Come find me over there, because I'm going to go right now and answer a couple of questions over there. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure that you do that now. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. And if you like this video, you like this, these AAA sessions, just give me a like, hit the little thumbs up button, and make sure that you tune in each time when I do this, which is Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon Pacific time. So I'm going to head over to the Facebook page right now. Come follow me and I'll answer more of your questions. Thanks so much.